Hello and welcome to the Comedy Club podcast right here at the Comedy Club of Kansas City. I'm your host, Dustin Kaufman. Please subscribe just right there. Click that subscribe button, share with your friends. Follow us across the board at the Comedy Club KC or online at thecomedyclubkc.com to see all of our upcoming shows. All right, today we kind of have a special episode. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be very nostalgic, a little local here to Kansas City. I'm joined by Dustin Slentz and Bryce Stanley. Hi, guys.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Thanks for coming up. So this kind of came up a kind of a last minute thing. I always knew that you were the last comic to perform for Stanford's.
Correct, yes.
Right. And then,
my greatest credit. When they bury me, put that on my headstone, dude. That's the best credit I'll ever have.
we all thank you for closing. No. And then it came up very last minute, even tonight, that you were like, I was the last comic to perform at the Legends Room.
Yes.
And so I was like, well, man, we got the club killers here, and it would be a lot of fun to kind of get you guys together and, I don't know, talk about just, I mean, because that club had a lot of history and had a reputation. It's
infamous, dude. People still talk about it.
They we're still talking about it.
Right.
You know, and a lot of history, a lot of stories. I mean, they did for a while a lot of good and created a lot of talent, but they also kind of buried comedy in Kansas City on certain burnt bridges for a lot of like really good comedians.
They sure did.
Like people who didn't want to work anymore and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I know when I started this venture, they were in the room. You closed that 8th and Walnut, the little 50-seater. Mm-hmm. And they were still operating when I started this, but they were both passed by the time we opened, which I was a little bit like,
they should see it.
You know, it was a little, this is not an ego project, but that was an ego moment of like, I wanted you to know.
Yeah. I get it for sure. Those guys are crazy, dude.
My first check ever as an MC from that club bounced.
Yeah,
of course.
As an MC. And that was even when it was just Westport.
Yeah.
And it was interesting watching that. It was interesting, like performing there since Westport too, because at Westport, Overland Park, Legends, downtown, you know, and just you could tell the crowds were different at different locations. I never saw or performed the one downtown, but I do know, like starting with that Westport energy to Overland Park to Bonner Springs, it was definitely, as a performer for me, the least entertaining for me. The crowds were just a little more uptight, didn't have as much to give, and you know. You closed Legends, which kind of, and then that's when they went to the downtown location. So talk about that a little bit. Like that night, was there like,
I didn't know anything was going on.
You didn't even know you were the last.
You didn't know you were closing?
No, I had no idea. It was like in August or something, and they got a hold of me, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to do a few like local headliners to kind of get us through the summer." To, you know, and then it'll kick back up
until we can start paying people again.
In the fall, exactly. So I believe there was like 3 weeks in a row. I think it was Richard Montano and then Merritt Lemons, and then I was.
These were the headliners.
Yeah, we were the local headliners.
All right.
So we get through the week, and it went okay, and I had some buddies opening for me and stuff, and it went all right. You know, we weren't filling the place or anything, but everything was going good. And come in like Saturday. And one of the bartenders or something was like, well, you know, that's it, I guess. And I was like, yeah, we made it through the weekend. And they're like, no, they're closing. Like, this is it, last night. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't think I was that bad. You know, like this wasn't my jokes, was this? And, you know, but they're like, yeah, no, we're just done. And then next thing you know, they're just taking shit off the wall and ready to move down to the other place.
They knew they were relocating at the time, though.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
You mean to say they withheld information?
Yeah. I feel like at that point it was kind of where they were, instead of paying their rent, they just moved. Like, I feel like that's kind of the strategy they had.
That was their strategy.
It's just like, well, we're behind enough.
That's how they ended up in Overland Park. And then Legends was like, well, no one else has taken over this stupid stage with the catwalk space, so I guess you guys can come back.
Yeah, and they fell for it twice. And
They so I looked at that space before we opened here. Just kind of as nostalgic purposes, and it would have been an easy turnkey, but you know, in commercial real estate, they say never assume a space for the same property, and you know, also I just wanted to be in Kansas City. I wanted to,
right? Yeah,
I wanted to be part of Kansas City. There was a big gap of 4 clubs at the time, and there was only out by the airport, and there was nothing else, like nothing. So it was important to me to be a part of the community in the city and stuff.
Yeah, especially like people ask where it is. Like we try to say like Kansas City is like it's not far. We're a city, you know, and it's like, oh, where's the club? Oh, between the airport and the racetrack.
So they told me, this is what the lady told me, and take it with a grain of salt or not, that the first time they left and they went to Rosanna Square, 119th and Metcalf, they were forced out by Legends because Legends was told that that was going to become a medical facility. And so, and they kind of pushed them out of there. And then when it didn't become a medical facility, they're like, would you like to come back? And I mean, they probably should have stayed at Rosanna Square at that point, but that is a behind of what it was explained to me. And I just told them at the end, well, unless you guys get a community theater who wants to take this place over, I don't know what you're going to do with this place.
Yeah. High ceilings, beige walls, catwalk, all the great things you want in a comedy room, right?
So, so did you know you were closing downtown?
Yes. So
you knew.
So
can we educate people a little bit about what this final space for them? I mean,
so it was if you walked in and it was a dive bar, you'd be like, this is sick, you know? If you walked in and they're like, this is a comedy club, you're like, oh.
Somebody is sick.
There's a pool table, you know? It's like, it used to be a pool bar. It's like Everett a couple, but they still have a pool table. And there's like a brick wall that goes 75% of the way across, but there's no other sound deadening. People are playing pool during shows oftentimes. Like you're in the middle of a joke, you see like someone breaking, you know? And like...
So like I know when I would do bars and could you guys turn the TVs off? And sometimes they'd be like, nah, people are gonna watch. I'm like, no, you need to turn the TVs off for the show. But you're at a comedy club and nobody's telling them to stop playing pool.
No, they're buying drinks. We're broke. Then of course they're not gonna tell them not to.
Wasn't one of the ways to the patio like right in front of the stage?
Yeah, well when
there a door right there? Like
so that was when they were in the front. They eventually did something kind of smart. They were like, maybe we should put comedy in the back and move the pool table in here.
Dude, that's just, it's so to think about because like where they were, I mean, they were not just the only name in the game for a long time. I mean, dude, that Westport room and then when they had Westport and Overland Park both, I mean, dude, that was pure energy. And they were bringing the best comics constantly and packing these rooms. And when they first went to Legends, it was like a beautiful room. You're like, oh, wow, you know, but still like just as long as they were around and just to see it here to end there is a little rough.
It was a poetic ending. It was perfect.
It is. Oh.
They were dodging rent forever. They were cockroaches. They always resurface and they died in a cockroach infested dive bar. There's no other way. You know how sad it'd be if they died at Overland Park, dude? No. That's how it should have ended.
Yeah.
It should have been me.
But you knew.
So
didn't somebody get shot there?
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Listen, sometimes when the cleaning crew is just simply doing their jobs at 3:00 in the morning, because you know Stanford's hired a cleaning crew, and then a fight happened in the street and they ran through Stanford's
shooting guns.
Yeah.
It happens a lot.
Because you know, if you're running from a guy with a gun,
yeah.
Why not run into a bar that you have no idea whether or not it has a back exit instead of just around the corner and keep running? Yeah. Sort of made sense to me.
I do want to kind of reiterate too right now, like Dustin and Bryce aren't just like bitter comedians and they are working professional. Dustin's working he's here all the time, all over the country. Bryce is traveling all the time. He's on like Larry the Cable on Sirius XM satellite radio. You can hear him. He's got a special out. I mean, these are working comedians simply reminiscing the club that they started at and being able to close that room. That's all we're doing. This isn't.
So Richard Montano was the GM of the club at the time. He called me and was like, I think he called me on Thursday and was like, hey, do you want a headline Saturday? I've never headlined before. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, dude, this is it. And Jeff had passed.
He had passed.
Jeff had passed.
Not too long before.
And Craig was sick.
Yeah. Yes.
And it was like, this is like rinse overdue. This is it. This is the last night. And I was just like, I could be of course, yeah. And I got there, and in classic Stanford's form, double booked. Janelle was headlining the entire weekend.
Oh my God.
But in an effort to pay her a little less, they kicked her off the last show. So I show up to headline the last show, and I'm like, wait, she's like, I've been headlining all weekend, But they put my name on a poster and everything. I was like, okay, sorry. Like, I don't have to do it. And she's like, no, fuck this place. Do it. I'll host if you want.
Did she?
And I was like, sick. Well, some of her friends are like, people came to see her.
Oh my God.
There's like, I think 8 to 10 people there to see Janelle.
So like,
and she gets informed that she's no longer headlining, and then she offers to host for me. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Dude, we had Janelle on the podcast not too long ago, and we talked about that. She just wants to be a part of comedy. She comes honestly, especially here too. She'll come with no ego. She headlines, she'll host, she'll feature, guest close out. I mean, she's also right down the street. She lives across the street, so like she's also our go-to, like in case of emergency, break glass. And she's so professional and funny.
So the night was chaos. So there's 2 shows. So Janelle headlines the first show. Second show starts to happen. Well, actually, in between the shows, Janelle's trying to get paid by Richard. And Richard says, I quit. Like, I just quit. Like, I don't have anything to do. Like, he's like, I don't have anything to do with this place.
I quit 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, and I'm like,
right after I took the money.
Richard, you booked her.
I don't have any money.
Like, what do you? You're still standing behind the bar, and you're like, I quit. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't know what to do. And she's and he did end up finally paying her, and so
he was going to try to keep her money and buy Coke.
Yes, of course.
Oh
so
my God.
So he quits. He does end up leaving, and so when the show starts, there's nobody there that works there. Like, we just have Stanford's. We start the show, and like a few minutes into my set, I tell the crowd,
the
like,
employees are gone.
There's nobody.
Servers,
nobody.
Bartenders,
nobody. Not a fucking soul.
Oh my God.
So I tell the crowd, they're like, what? I'm like, listen, there's no bartender. This is the last night here. Help yourself, right? And this dude was like, I have homemade liquor in my trunk. And I was like, bring it. He brings in a case of like homemade liquor and is selling it in the room, dude. It was my set was awesome,
moonshine?
Dude. Yes. And then like halfway through my set, or like at some point in the show, I believe what was the guy's name with the long hair that barred? Keith. Keith shows up and is like,
Keith Rainey?
Yeah, the guy that played guitar and was a bartender there for a long time. I think Keith. I can't remember his last name. Ponytail guy.
Older?
Yeah.
Keith was a bartender in Westport. Did he?
Yeah, and then he like moved to LA for music, and then he came back and started bartending at Overland Park.
I don't think we're talking about the same person.
We might be. We'll look it up afterwards. So he shows up and is like asking around, like, where's the... So he just jumps behind the bar and starts doing his old job. So he starts bartending, and he's just pocketing tips. So nobody's buying drinks. And then after the show, like everybody's having a good time, Clint Warren shows up.
Oh my God. So
Clint Warren shows up.
Can we just pause and tell people who Clint is in a professional way?
Yeah.
Clint is a proprietor of stand-up comedy in Kansas City. He had ventured and gotten whatever his relationships with them. He had ventured with them and probably gotten burned a couple of times. He also ran his own clubs when they left Hooters Plaza, 105th and Metcalf. He became Famous Johnny's. He had Clint's Comedy Stop out, and he took over the open mic room at Stanford's at Rosanna Square and just ran a small club called Clint's Comedies, and it was great for local comics because it was like features were headlining and stuff like that. So Clint is good people, been in the scene for a while.
Yeah, so show's chaos. People are drinking homemade liquor, helping themselves to beers. Keith pocketing tips. Clint shows up. And is like, "Where's Richard?" I'm like, "There's nobody. It's over, And Clint's like looking around. And he mumbles to himself, I'm getting something from these fuckers.
Oh my God.
Like they owe me money. So he starts just taking beer out and like packing it in boxes. Like the Glazers have owed him money for years. And he's like, I guess I'll take some top shelf liquor, this third of a bottle of tequila, this fucking like building his own 6-pack, dude. It was hilarious. We all just like looted it the last night.
It's like taking jewelry off the corpse at the funeral because they owed you money or something.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's exactly what was happening.
You're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
get
need
something
this
from these
watch.
fuckers and just started loading up.
Where you're going, you don't need this.
It was insane, dude. It's one of the best nights of my life. It ruled.
So you, Janelle, who else was on the show?
God, I can't remember who featured. I wish I did.
Yeah. When did you? What club did you start at?
I was at the one on Metcalf.
Yeah, that's where I started.
Rosanna Square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one right.
Oh, you
before.
both started Rosanna Square.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
about the
started
same
similar time.
Similar time. We were pretty close.
I'm 10 years. I think you might have been a little bit before me.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm at about 11 years right now.
Yeah.
So.
They were giving a lot of young comics opportunities hosting then, right?
They were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. People that like that person doesn't know our checks bounce. You want to do 5 minutes? Like that's how they were booking, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, they would short you on checks. You
Yeah,
know?
I
They'd be
got
like,
a lot of like they'd give you
They'd short you
part
like
of it, and then
yeah.
they're like, "Hey, if you come by on Tuesday,
Yeah.
we'll have the rest for
But
you."
you'd have to call.
Yeah.
You'd be short, it'd be like $20. You're like, $20 really? And I call it. I thought it was 100. It's on my check only. It only says 80. I'm like, you fucking signed it, dude. Give me that. It only says 80 shit.
Oh my god.
And then come by
They're
Tuesday.
like, "What will this guy not drive out here on Tuesday for?"
Yeah. Well,
And
what a
they'd
lot of
short-
us
they'd
would
short you
do
that amount.
is go to Country Club Bank because that was their bank. So you go Monday morning
Off
and cash the
Shawnee
check
Mission
at
Parkway.
their bank.
Yeah.
And so then they would be the ones short on money. The fuckers cashing checks already.
You know, I guess I could say I don't understand that, but I mean, people were definitely paying with credit cards, but it was a lot more cash heavy. So, I mean, I guess if you're taking cash to the bank and you just have no money every week, then you need to put the cash. But I mean,
And also a lot of the
Still
cash
have
isn't
credit
making it out the door. There's women in blow in there, you know. There's like
I've had a lot of headliners come through saying that he offered to pay them with hookers or cocaine. And like, no, how about you just give me my money, Craig? You know,
I saw him hand a headliner 3 checks. Post dated consecutive weeks. Broke their headlining pay up into 3 checks. Was like, hey, just go on consecutive Mondays. You cash the check.
Craig's don't care about dates anymore, man. You got, check. I couldn't imagine the feeling of handing somebody a check that you knew wasn't going to fucking clear.
Yeah.
Or to say,
tough.
or even just to be like, okay, can you cash this one later?
Yeah, it's a different kind of person.
And like to have to do that consistently, is a lot.
Dude, I went to Jeff's funeral.
Nobody talks about Jack, the third brother.
Jack was passed by the time I started.
He wasn't there in the beginning. He wasn't there at the end. He was in jail for a long time. Jack, the best way to describe him was like a 5'5" heroin addict who looked just like Rod Stewart if he was a 5'5" heroin addict and related to the Glaciers.
My only visual representation of him is I found a Stanford
Never
Sons
met
shirt.
him.
No, I never met him. I found a Stanford Sons shirt at a thrift store. It's an illustration of the 3 brothers, and it says, think about it. And I was like, $4? Yeah, that's mine. So
Jack was sweet.
I have a drawing of Jack.
Jack was very sweet, and he caring.
I heard he
and
was the nice one.
He was very well. I mean, he didn't have to be. He didn't do the booking. He didn't sign the checks. I mean, he could just be a good guy, But I think he was just a sweet guy too. I mean, he was fun to talk to, very caring and stuff like that. So Jack he felt that he fell asleep.
Oh, like behind the wheel, right?
Driving, like nodded off, I think. And Jeff had a heart attack, right?
I don't remember exactly what happened to Jeff.
And then Craig had cancer at the end. So, but okay, Jeff's funeral. By the way, Craig's dad didn't go to the funeral, which is
no. Their dad showed up for Jeff's funeral, but didn't come back for Craig's funeral.
Yeah, that's rough.
So, boy, yikes, ouch, dude.
So Jeff's funeral.
Craig emceed it. And I don't say that as a joke because
Say that one more time.
Craig emceed the funeral.
Emceed the funeral.
He hosted. I'm not saying that as a joke because he ran it like a show. He went up and rambled, and after a little bit of rambling, towards the end of his rambling, he's like, Jeff and I were always ostracized in the Jewish community. You know, they didn't really like us. And then he's like, well, you know, so we were never that religious. But anyways, up next, the rabbi. You're just like, what? I was melting in my chair, dude. And he'd come up in between.
Come see Dustin Diamond next week.
He was coming up between every person and rambling for a few more minutes.
Did it run smooth?
No. It was Craig. And so he's about to bring up Janie, Jeff's wife. And before he brings her up, he's like, yeah, and I saw Janie and the kids at the hospital. And last time I saw Jeff when I walked in, you know, in his room, he was watching my movie, The King of Sting. Verbatim, dude. He says that. And like, so anyways, you know, here's Jeff's wife. She's going to come say a few words. And he brings up Janie. And she goes up. And the first thing she says is like, yes, we did see Craig at the hospital, but we were watching the NBA playoffs. No one's watched his movie. Like they're beefing at the funeral, dude.
It was a book, right?
A book. He said watching my
movie.
That's I don't something to that regard. And she was just like, no, we were watching the playoffs. No one was. Maybe he said reading the book, but no, we were watching the playoffs. No one was like, oh my God, brother wasn't reading your book on his deathbed. I guess I never read The King of Sting. You know?
Nobody's reading your book, Craig. Nobody's reading your book.
You couldn't do shit without me.
Was Craig handing out tickets to future shows?
That's the only thing he didn't do.
We're talking to. Like,
that's the only thing he didn't do.
Yeah, your first like 3 minutes of your host set out there was Craig standing in front of the stage and people lining up to get tickets for future shows. I'm like, this is good stage time right now.
Who was the first? What was your first week in there? Who'd you get to work with?
Brian Dunkelman.
I remember Brian.
Big name. He was one of the two hosts of American Idol. You know who he is?
I know who he was, yeah.
He was the co-host of American Idol first season. If you didn't
know. He's he was almost Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
So I worked with him at the Legends one time, and it was like, it was like, right? It was like, and this is not talking bad, and I just made a joke, something like, oh, thanks a lot, Brian. This is, you know what I mean? And like, and something, and he did not take it well at all.
Yeah, I think it's a very sore subject, like even
the ticket sales
to this day.
Oh.
No, the Ryan Seacrest.
Oh, no. He did not take well to the lack of tickets. So,
okay.
But yes, right. So Brian Dunkelman, that's funny. He was with them a while. That was your first?
That was my first, I hosted for him.
Who's your most memorable?
Todd Bridges, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Todd Bridges.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Todd was the maintenance man on Living Single? No.
He's what you talking about?
Right. He was Willis.
Yeah. He was Willis.
He's Willis.
And what he's talking about is all the girls he's banged. That's all he wanted to talk about.
That's what we're talking about.
That's what he was talking about the whole weekend. And I had to like pick him up and take him back and forth to the shows. I think it was kind of like a feature / host at that. That was out at Legends.
They booked a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
Like I remember when they first started booking Dustin Diamond and Screech and stuff. Mm-hmm. They were like he hated the Screech. He didn't want to do it. Yada yada yada. But then he was selling transcripts of Saved by the Bell after the show. I was like, well, you got to pick a direction.
Mm-hmm. Listen, we booked you to be Screech. You're going to be Screech.
Who was your first weekend?
Kira Sultanovich.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a very embarrassing moment with her because, like, if you hosted at Stanford's, you were also the headliner's driver. Like you had to drive them places. And I had a breathalyzer in my car at the time. And I knew my breathalyzer, once you started the car, it was 12 minutes before the first, like the second, before you had to blow again, right?
Yeah.
Hotel is 11 minutes away.
Oh my God.
So it's like, once you get that car started, we gotta get.
We gotta get.
And we pull into the parking lot. I'm dropping her off at the hotel. By the way, in a fucking beat up 2000 Jeep Cherokee,
Did they know you had the breathalyzer on there?
No.
No, you didn't.
They
tell
wouldn't
them?
have changed anything.
I know, but just if they would have been like, it's fine.
So And I had a beer at the show because you could have a beer.
Yeah.
And wait a couple hours and pass your breath. So I have a beer. I drive her. We pull into because she's like talking to a fan or something, and I'm just like, oh God, get in the fucking car. Pull into the parking lot. She's opening her door to get out. Beep, 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 beep. She's like, what is that? And I was like, and I just pull it out and start blowing. And she's like, didn't I see you with a cocktail? I was like, I had one beer. And then I'm just like, dude, she just had to deal with the Glazers. And now she's getting dropped off at her hotel by this degenerate fucking dude with a fucking breathalyzer in his car.
And some of your most memorable, some of the people, like memorable comics you got to work with?
Most memorable.
Like, I know.
My most memorable night there would have been with Chris Frangiola.
Okay.
He was on stage, and I went out to like smoke a cigarette, and one of my buddies came outside and was like, it's getting kind of weird in there. And so I go back inside, and he had told some joke about prison or something. And some guy in the crowd was like, oh, I just got out of prison, And at some point, like someone else across the room was like, I'm a cop. And these two guys start like arguing like in the crowd. But they're like trying to argue through Chris. It's like, tell him he's a fucking pussy. Tell him like this. And like, he's been on stage for like 28 minutes, I think. And he just goes, you know what, Kansas City, that's enough. And just puts the mic in the stand. And I just happened to be sitting in there because like 28 minutes, he's doing an hour,
Right.
And but my friend told me, he's like, it's weird in there. And I was like, maybe I should go sit by the door. And yeah, he got off stage. Like, maybe it wasn't 30 minutes early, but yeah, he was just like, whatever's about to happen here, not worth it.
In Westport, I got to work with Larry the Cable Guy on his last club tour.
Oh, nice.
Right before, and it was like, usually they would do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Friday, Tuesday, Saturday. And that was, that's what people were doing 20 years ago. And Larry had 2 sold out. Every show sold out. I'll just say that. So I don't say sold out 8 times, but sold out 2 Wednesday, 2 Thursday, 3 Friday, 3 Saturday, 2 Sunday. It was insane, and as a really young comic. But then I got to work with Jim Jeffries and just J. Chris Newber. So many great people there. Lynn Koppler, just a lot of really, really great comics I did get to meet through there. And, to watch Porter come out of there and just, coming up, watching Gaither and Leon and Edmund and coming up with Baldwin and Finney and stuff. So, we do talk, but that's the roots. And I know that there's a lot of great comics that did come from there despite them and what it became and stuff like that. So thanks for coming in here. I just, it was fun to be able to sit down and kind of just talk about, they've come up on the show a couple of times, but to be able to talk about the closing, the actual ending of the Stanfords, you closing Legends, you closing the club. Where can people find you online, Dustin?
Just Dustin Slentz on Instagram. I don't really.
SLENTZ.
Yep, SLENTZ.
Bryce
Stanley Comedy, Instagram.
All right. For Bryce and Dustin, the Comedy Club of Kansas City, this is the Comedy Club podcast. I hope you enjoyed this inside look into a little bit of the history of comedy in Kansas City and our predecessors and a little bit of what we've had to overcome starting changing the reputation for just comedy in Kansas City and getting comics into the city as well. But all right, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye.